Hey everybody, welcome back to our neck of the woods. So today's video, we got some more material that we can go over. We're gonna start working a little bit again on the garage, and we're also gonna start taking care of some of the front landscape. And we've gotta basically get a walkway started to get planned out. So hang with us, I'll tell you what we bought and what we got going on. All right, so first thing first, we got a bunch of lumber. This is basically going to trim out our windows here in the garage and basically the inside of the house for the look. But what we got today is just to do the garage. Aaron and I finally came up with a design of how we want the windows to look. So we got our drywall kind of put up in there. So this one's kind of ready to go. I still have to just mud the screw holes and stuff on the sides here, but it's all caulked on the inside for down in here, so no air can leak out just in case the windows were to fail on the insulation or the caulking on the outside. But that's the design that we're going with there with the drywall. Now we just have to trim everything out and hide it. So I'll show you again how the design's gonna look with all of the lumber. And then the other thing that we just have to knock out again is we've got to start with the front landscaping. We've got some filter fabric that we basically want to put down all through here so we keep the weeds down. Not to mention we want the stone to have a nice base to sit on so it all holds like nice and firm in a catcher's mitt so it doesn't sink or crack our concrete one day, because we are going to obviously concrete this out for a walkway one day. And then again, everything in here up to this tree over to the other side of the driveway, this will all be concrete too. So concrete pad up here, concrete walkway over there, but for now we can just put the fabric down and some stone, and then we actually have something to walk on. And then maybe in this video too, we will figure out what we're gonna do underneath of the porch. We may have to get more stone, more filter fabric, etc. But we want to cut down all of these weeds in here, remove that concrete in there, and then we're going to figure out how we're going to box this in so that everything under the porch is hidden. Do we have to kill the weeds if it's completely boxed in and no sun can get to weeds and everything? I don't know, but it may just be cheaper and easier to cut down on that, especially with some stone laid down in there, because that will help with moisture rising up, and the deck basically won't rot out from underneath, because we don't want to 100% like air seal box that in, but we do have to box that in to make it look more sightly and stuff. So I'm gonna get started at least on the window trimming tonight and see how the first one's going to look, and then we'll figure out, you know, caulking and painting just to make it all trimmed out 100% and look beautiful. And then we've got 2 more to do with a little bit more drywall. And again, hopefully everything fits and we've got enough lumber for it, because stuff is expensive. The pine boards that we went with, that again was once again the cheapest, cheaper than plastic, MDF, at least for the sizes that we wanted. And if you guys are worrying about that PVC or wondering what that is actually for back on the gutter video that I'm still in the process of making once we get our gutters up. So won't be talking about that today, but let's at least start trimming this out, getting some measurements, and let's see if we can at least finish this one window and make it all look nice and pretty. Man, I hate finished carpentry work. Basically, nothing is square, nothing is fitting that well. And because we're trimming it out, that of course means that we need to be somewhat straight, because we can't rely like 100% on caulking or anything. Obviously, if we were to just drywall these out 100%, we could have just put on the metal like L channels all the way up and around, mud and taped it, or just mudded it. And if it was out of plumb, maybe you wouldn't have seen it 100%. But something tells me these 2x8 walls, some of the 2x8s may have like cupped this way, or maybe they're slightly bowed, even though we put blocking in every 4 feet going on up there. And the drywall is just not 100%. So the way I'm trimming it out, the drywall is either too far or too in, as I'm trying to run, obviously, a piece of lumber straight up and down. So basically what Aaron wanted is that up there. I just built that header. Hopefully you can see it up there pretty easy. It's basically kind of like a U shape almost. So I got a 2 or a 1x6 with that guy down there, and then put on that like 1x1 or whatever, or 1x2 and put one on the top, one on the bottom, stapled them up into each other so it made like a header. And then I got that nice and plumb up there, or level. Brad nailed it and glued it to the wall, so really it'll never go anywhere. And now I'm trying to bring down my sides here, but my sides are proving to be a problem based on how that wall is basically, you know, in or out like that. So we may have to have the wood extend into the window frame a little bit, as opposed to others. They put the trim more on the outside, so maybe like a 1/2 of an inch of drywall showing up everywhere and around. But that means we would again had to have L channel. We would have had to have mud and sanded all of that and then put that on. But I don't know. I'm not a finisher carpenter. I'm more of a rough framer that's just faster and easier for me. So we'll have to rely either on caulking, or when we go and we mud the screw holes on the drywall and stuff, we may have to put the drywall to wood and actually do mud. But I guarantee that's going to shrink and crack. So we may have to do it a couple times, or we may have to put the mud on and then a little bit of caulking where we can smooth it and get it as smooth as possible, because even our MDF has moved. As you can see, there's black caulking right there. I had to caulk that because all of my MDF boards basically separated going all the way down here. The plastic didn't seem to move, which this is plastic down here because that way any water that hits this, it'll never hurt that exterior paint and it'll never hurt that plastic trim. But the MDF all shrunk, or what maybe have happened, the 2x12 that's behind here, that's sitting on top of the ICF wall as like a top sill plate, that either expanded and contracted and moved, which the MDF is obviously screwed to it. So if the 2x12 is moving, then the MDF is moving. So I had to go around and hit caulking in all of the seams where they come together, and then I'll just have to repaint that, and hopefully it won't open up again. But we'll have to see what happens with these windows too. If there's expanding and contracting, because this garage currently is not heated or cooled. The drywall mud will expand and contract probably a lot more, and once it cracks, it's done, as opposed to like an exterior caulking that actually has a lot of elasticity. That may help us out more in the long run. So I don't know. I'm going to measure down these side pieces right now, and my board that for the sill plate is not going to work. It fits in here beautifully for how thin it is. Unfortunately, it doesn't stick out far enough. So when we put our trim piece down right here, the trim is actually sticking out further. So I'm gonna have to get another, this is like a 1/2x6. I'm gonna have to get a 1/2x8 and probably plane down the whole thing from that 3/4 of an inch down to this 1/2 inch. I'll plane that down, and then we'll let the sides run long, so these 3.5 inches can sit on top of here, and then the bottom trim can go under here too. So these basically will help cover this right here. That will kind of like make a little dog leg off to the side. So that's not going to work. We're just going to need one that goes longer, and then because it's longer, we can not use a 3-footer here. We can get an 8-footer and cut it down, but that means now we can have winglets, because we were trying to decide what we're going to use, and that piece right there only came in a 1/2 inch by 3 foot, and that was literally our only option. So I'll return the others, we'll plane it down, and then figure that out later. But for right now, I just want to get those side trim pieces on, and then we can even put the bottom piece on too. And then we'll just have to cut the dog leg out later and put it on. But I'm not a finisher, so anybody that's making fun or doesn't like the way anything looks is what it is. I'm trying my best. Well, caulk it till you make it, right? At least I don't feel as bad. It's not my fault. These premium lumber boards, not only were many of them bowed this way, but they're also like crowned this way. So it's not actually my wall on that one board that I tried to place. For that guy right there, that one is actually just bowed out like that. So that's why drywall was either poking or not. So found a straighter one, put that up there, caulked both sides. And I think for the game plan for these, even though they are a decent looking wood, we're still just gonna paint them. So on that gray line, the sill and everything down in there will just be painted gray, and everything up there will just be painted white. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get wood filler to go ahead and fill in like all my brad nail locations. So that looks pretty. So just fill those. And then it's just gonna be painted white and gray. So I don't know, I think that looks okay. Like I said, the only thing we have to do is get another sill plate. Instead of a 1x6, we need a 1x8. And then we'll dog leg the ears out underneath each one of those. And then once that's in, I will use one of the boards that is either bowed or not, and we'll try and push it up so that we can nail it under here and trim out the bottom too. So that is what our windows are going to look like. So hope you guys enjoy the look of that. I don't mind it. I think it looks cool. Got a nice wooden header up there on the inside of the house. Maybe we will stain them and give it a different look, but it's gonna be a little bit difficult just due to the fact of how I'm caulking it. Obviously, as you can see, my finger's a mess down through there, and some of the caulking got on the wood. So that would be obviously hard to stain if you have caulk on the wood. So I don't know, but I will be back at this when I go get those 2x8s so I can finish off that lower sill plate and actually finish one 100%. We may actually have to caulk twice because of some of where the gaps are. But it is what it is. So I'll be back again tomorrow and get a complete look so you guys can see how that's gonna finish out. Hey everybody, welcome back. Another day. Anyone else have problems last night? Quite an eventful one here. Let's see, it's June 14th, so it's been June 13th. Not last week where we had like 5 tornadoes touch down in Ohio, but last night. Power went out at midnight. Aaron woke up because obviously everything gets real quiet. I go out here and grab the generator and I go to fire it up, and there is just not a sound in the world. I mean, I'm talking, you could hear a pin drop 360 degrees, like 100 yards all the way around you. And the crazy thing is, all the way over in that direction, there was so much lightning. It was going through all of the clouds like it was like a fiber optic cable, and it was lighting the sky up over here. But again, not a sound. You could not hear even an ounce of thunder. And then second later, like they say, the calm before the storm, huge thing just rolls in and just knocks down all of these little silver maples. We've lost tons of ash trees over here. One tree in the front fell across the entire road. So I'm trying to run and Aaron's already up. We got the cats down in the basement. Tornado siren went off over there. I had to pull the second generator out because I needed one generator to run the sump pump, one to run the RV, but then I stopped running the RV off that one and put it over there for the sump pump because that one was already like close by and running as opposed to the other one. Then I had to go get freaking gas, and holy crap, there's just so much debris and everything all over the place. So today I think I'm going to spend a little bit of time with a chainsaw and clean up a little bit, and then we'll head to the store tonight before they close and go ahead and get the sill plates so we can get that on and get the windows finally knocked out. But I'll be back in a little bit after I start cleaning up a massive amount of storm damage. All right, everybody, the first window is about 99% done. I went ahead and planed that board. I obviously got it sticking out, like I said, so it sticks out like a dog leg. Got the bottom trim on. I caulked everything that needed caulking. I used wood filler to fill in all of my brad nail holes so we can give that a real light sanding. And this wood will look flawless once painted. Yes, I have a weight on there because wouldn't you know it, every single board again is bowed one way or another. Even though I just picked these 1x8 up, 8 foot long, got it planed down. Took forever because I need new knives on my planer. So I had to run it through like 100 times, and I could only go down like less than 1/64th of an inch or it'd like bog down and get stuck. So I think I have a set of blades around here. The planer just needs changed out, because then it would take probably no more than 3 passes to go from like 5/8 down to like 1/2 inch or whatever. But again, that's how it's gonna look. So hopefully the glue and the brad nails will hold that sill plate on there. Once it hardens, I can remove that weight and it won't like pop back up. If it does, we're probably gonna have to put an actual screw down through the middle and hit the bottom lumber on that bottom sill seal, and then, or sill plate, and then we'll have to do some more wood filler and fill it over and then caulk it. But I just did my first drywall mud on the screws up in there, so that's gonna take a minute to dry, and then we'll do another coat, sand it, and then hopefully we'll be able to paint this soon, however long it takes for that to dry. So I'm gonna get to cracking at putting more drywall up like on this side here, and then I can start trimming this one out and hopefully making it look good. But it is definitely a pain in the butt. It is not 100% perfect. The window opening or whatever that we're sitting on is not 100% level, even though that the window is. So whether it's level or plumb, there's a little bit of variancy, but I don't think anyone's gonna come over and be holding a level up to absolutely every piece, making sure it's 100%. But you know what, I did what I can do, the best that I can. So I think it's a unique look, it's cool, it's simple, it's very easy. And hopefully once it's done for the another like 20 some windows that I have on the inside of the house, it'll all look beautiful. So let's set up, let's knock that side over there, and then we'll come back and do some more over here, and maybe we'll get to painting sometime. So while I'm still waiting for the mud to dry in there before we sand it down and finish all the painting, obviously, as you can see, we graded a little bit more. This was a major spot right here for water to sit, particularly because I think it comes off that garage roof right there and just lays on the ground, and then it can't go anywhere. But as soon as we get the gutters going, the plan again is to try and use 4-inch piping to capture this side of the roof and that side of the roof. We're basically gonna snake around here, go under this stone right here all the way down, and then it'll meet up with the gutter on the other side. So hopefully 4-inch pipe is enough to capture about 1,500 square feet of roof when it rains heavy. Hopefully it doesn't back up, but we'll have to figure out later where we're gonna put that drain in the backyard so it's not just dumping, you know, whatever, however many gallons that is, 1,500 square foot, an inch an hour, let's say, or more, whatever the rain is. It's gonna be dumping out and pushing it over there towards the propane tank. So we'll have to figure that all out later. But grading a little bit more. Now we're gonna lay down some fabric, and then hopefully we get enough stone in here that we actually get like a good base, a couple inches of stone. That way any water that does sit in here, it can actually go through the stone and under and out into the front yard, or out that way over there. So I really don't want a lot of water sitting up in here, but hopefully that won't be the case again once the gutters go on and we really don't get wind-driven rain going this way. So this should stay relatively dry once that's all done. But let's bust out the fabric. Let's go ahead and figure out what type of pathway we want for concrete as you walk up to the house. And then as you just saw, Aaron and I got all this cleaned up in here. So I'll probably just lay some fabric down now and put it in there so it stops the weeds. And then we'll just have to get a couple truckloads of stone and start bringing it in here and throughout there. So let's figure out a sidewalk pattern and go from there. What? What? Didn't you just say hey?
I said hey because I tripped on a roof.
This does not look like 4 feet. Huh?
Didn't even ask me where it should go.
Well, this is obviously going to go parallel, so you walk up and can enter at any point. As for the turn, decide it.
But I mean, it'll be like a curvy shape, right? Not a straight to another straight.
Well, obviously I can't do that with straight fabric.
Okay, I'm just confirming.
Do we want to pour concrete also?
As opposed to what?
Laying brick or something?
I mean, I like the look of brick. It's no pavers. It's always going to be.
Did you hear that?
Did I hear it?
Yeah.
Did you fart?
The frog.
Like a fart or an actual frog?
You didn't hear that frog?
You hear that frog? No.
There's millions of baby frogs out here, but I'm betting that you farted.
Yeah, I know. There was one under these. I started picking them
They're
up.
even over there when I'm mowing.
They went
Everywhere.
up.
So,
I mean, if we do
no pavers, pour concrete.
57, then a bunch of sand, then we could lay out some nice pattern, but
You will have so much regret in your heart.
yeah, but the concrete can move too. Who knows how stable
It's not the same.
the soil is going to be. Where do you want it to start to turn?
The only thing that I would consider other than poured concrete is if you wanted to do like huge slabs of like blue slate leading up to it, but brick, no. This is not a house. Brick is not the look for coming up to this house.
It doesn't have to be brick. It can be pavers. Grays, whites, patterns, herringbone, whatever type of thing there could be.
I will look into it and get back to you. It's gonna be over here.
Then it only has to go if you pretend that tree needs some root, non-access.
Go
Right where you are, going out, curve in around this tree, and then go back over.
lay the fabric and then I'll say.
Peak will be up in there, but it should be roughly straight with a curve around this tree and then back. Huh?
Straight.
Yes, no? I mean, if we're doing this in concrete,
Look at her, she's got to be on it.
if we're
Good
doing this
job.
in concrete, I mean, we have to have a board that can bow to the forming. What?
Yeah, I mean, people do all kinds of crazy things with concrete. I just, yeah, I like the path where it's at. I just don't want it to be like straight, turning straight. Just as long as it looks like something that flows, it's good.
All right, so what do we got? We need to get a few more things of filter fabric. As you can see, We only really ever planned out on doing under there and throughout here when we bought it. So hopefully my buddy Adam can come over and we can get a truckload of 57. The 57 will be the base of the concrete that will go all the way up under here for the pathway. And we're just going to throw a bunch of 57 all up underneath of the porch. And again, that will help with just keeping moisture down so the bottom of the deck isn't basically rotting out from underneath. And game plan is we want to use maybe like a 2x8, 2x6, or maybe 2x4 and kind of like screw them onto here. So it'll be like a 2x8, 2x6, then like a 2x4 or whatever pattern we go with. And then we'll have like maybe a ½ inch in between. So light will still go up under here. And we'll have to make a doorway so we can get under here and do maintenance. We can store things like the generator. If the power goes out, you can just simply go up under here, or the back porch too. Go up under there, plug in what you need to, or fire it up, and then it's running. But we just need to figure out how we're gonna trim all this out eventually. But I just want to get this stone laid down so we finally have a walkway to walk on that's nice. And the stone in here though, Aaron wants to lay number 4 river rock. So number 4 is like real big type stone, like mini little footballs, like that big. And we'll just lay the filter fabric down, and then we'll lay that river rock in here on the other side of the sidewalk. It will also go in everywhere in through here and basically around the porch. Then we need to figure out this last step here so that we can get this knocked out and bring that down. And then we can figure out how we're gonna trim that underneath of the stairs, the kick plates, and again, all of the stone up in here, and the same on this side. So stone will probably be equal. There'll be no pathway over here, but we'll just throw some stone up in here and maybe a few feet around through here and over to that corner. So that way we don't have to go in there with a lawnmower or anything, and should cut down on the weeds and everything like that. Now stone is quite expensive right now. That number 4 river rock, if you're picking it up by yourself, I've seen as much as $81 a ton. That is astronomically expensive. Even some places are trying to sell 57 for like $40 or $50 a ton, which is just insane. I'm used to paying like low 20s for it. And there's been some delivery services that I've seen, if you calculate up to 20 tons, they will sell it for like $32 a ton. That's even like $10 more than what it used to be. So waiting on my buddy Adam, who's got a 20-ton dump truck, who can bring over a load, and wherever he picks it up from a quarry, hopefully it's even cheaper than 32. But the quarry has to have the round river rock too. If they don't, we've got to pay that top dollar from some mulch yard that actually carries it. So again, hopefully tomorrow, maybe we can get that delivery, or sometime this week, and at least lay the 57 out and under there, get a couple more things of filter fabric to throw everywhere. And then tonight, once the drywall of the mud is finally dry, I'll sand that down. We'll finish painting all of the trim work, and then we'll be done in the garage. Yeah, but you got to go get more fabric. At least 5 of those rolls. I don't think Home Depot carries the same stuff though. You're just gonna have to get a good, better, best and get, those were 4x50s. No, those are 4x25s. So if you can get another 250 feet, it'd probably be more than enough. All right, so it looks like we're gonna have a ton left over. So game plan is we're probably gonna have to bring some of the stone up in here, up a little bit more, because we need one step on the ground before we get up to this first step right here. So obviously, as you can see, this is like almost 2 feet of a step up, and I don't want to pay that much in concrete to have it go up that high. So we're probably gonna have to put a sill seal on that wood right there, on that 6x6, so that way the concrete doesn't rot that out. And then again, the stone will just have to go up a little bit more until it gets to the bottom of that, so that way the concrete will be however thick, and it'll have to come up to, the concrete will have to stop probably like right about there. So you've got your 7.5 or whatever from there up to there, and then plus whatever the lumber is that we're going to put on there as the first tread. So the sill will protect the concrete against that. This will go up a little bit higher. And then again, what we decided is we're gonna put the 57 actually everywhere. So all the way against the house, all the way between the poles, underneath of the steps, over in here a little bit, and over in there. And the reason why that is because the 57 I was able to get today for about $32 a yard or ton. I think they go by tons, but $32 a ton. And that is a hell of a lot cheaper than the number 4 river rock. So if we build up some of the thickness first with the cheaper stuff on the 57s, then we dump in our number 4 river rock on top of the 57, we'll get the height that we want, but we don't have to pay for so much thickness. And we've got a hell of a lot left on that pile that I think we'll be able to throw it in here absolutely no problem. And hopefully there's a little bit more left over. That'll be hard to say because there's some spots in the driveway that I was just fixing, like over in here where you can see the color difference. We're trying to get this a little bit more flat because going up in there is actually pretty hard for the Camaro. It's got a pretty sharp incline there. Plus we're fixing areas in here where water has been retaining and holding. So we're putting it all throughout there, which is nice. And again, hopefully we have just the right amount. So Aaron will be right back to the store getting a few more rolls of filter fabric so that we can put it throughout here and on the other side where she wants the official stone to go. And hopefully by today, all this will be done. All right guys, done and done. I finally feel like I got my good driveway back. We don't have any of that mud sitting in here where we excavated for the 3-inch conduit to go for the electric. So there's a little bit of stone left over that we could smooth all this out. A big problem also with getting our tires muddy. We did throw in that 1 yard over here the other day, but it was still heavy in through here where water was just sitting. Probably a good 2 more inches, 3 more inches sitting up in here now to where we can't see the standing water. It'll still be down there, but at least it can leak out through here and we won't ever see it. And we did end up using that full 20 tons. So absolutely everything is done. So like I said before, we will plan our walkway through here, twisting and turning, put some spikes. We'll have to use some OSB or something that it can move and like kind of warp and get it to look the certain curvature that we want. And then everywhere else where the 57 is, we're just gonna throw down again those number 4 river rocks. So we don't need that many now because we're already, as you can see, built up all the way against the gemstone and we don't have to worry about anything. And then hopefully weeds are cut down, everything underneath of the stairs, underneath of the deck, and everywhere in here where this is again gonna stop right here for the sidewalk. This everywhere in here, kind of this little nook in here, and then going up over to there. Basically no limestone will be seen. This will run straight into the gemstone down that way. This will all be river rock. So now we just got to figure out when we can pour concrete, how much it's going to be. Might have to ask that guy that I had over here before, Randall, who helped pour all of the ICF walls. He and his crew did the garage and the basement. So we'll see what we can do. I'm assuming we're going to want the sidewalk to have a little bit of a taper out to the front of the yard this way, so water doesn't hit the sidewalk and go towards the house. So 4 foot wide, maybe 4.5 feet wide of sidewalk. We'll go ahead and give a slight pitch so it can fall off this way, and we'll just see what he thinks on price wise and how much concrete that would be to go all the way over there. So may not happen soon because concrete's not that expensive, but Randall and his guys are expensive. So I would have to see how much labor I would actually have to do myself to stake and plant it out. That way he only has to come over here for the pour and screed and smooth and do the edge lines and the scribe lines, or the relief joints in each one. And if we do like 4.5 by 4.5, we'll have like 4.5 inch slabs as they go on down. So again, I'm gonna get back to the garage, get those sanded down in there, all the trim work, get everything, at least for the trim work, painted, and then I still have to figure out a day when I can get the scaffolding up back into the garage and go ahead and completely paint the inside of that, which I am just absolutely dreading to do. I'm not looking forward to that. So hang tight, I'll be back probably in a little bit or tonight, and we'll finish off inside of there. All right, everybody, so wrapping it up here, as you can see, we got all of the trim work done, all of the caulking done, and I went ahead and got my dark gray paint painted on all the bottom. So now I'm transitioning up to the white. The problem is, it's the same problem I had before though. This white is just absolutely horrible. I don't know what the difference is. They're both Bare Ultra. This one, however, is an interior satin, and this one, the gray, is an exterior. Something with the interior, or just with these cans, maybe they're bad or whatever, but the second you put them on the wall, all of the water like instantaneously gets sucked out of it. And I'm not even joking when I say, whether you're painting the drywall or the wood, you put down this much and then you go back and the paintbrush literally sticks like glue within the paint. So, I mean, you're talking like a few inches within a few seconds, just stroke, 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 and you go to stroke it again. And again, the paintbrush instantly sticks to the paint. It's like glue. You see nothing but marks going down through it. And this gray laid absolutely beautiful. There's no marks or scuffs or anything in it. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but right up in there, you can see again, maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. But you can just see that the finish basically is in satin. Because the water or whatever moisture is like not in that paint or whatever. It's like you go ahead and lay right here and you've got a satin wet look, and then you go over a little bit and then you got like a matte look. And then you try to get the matte to be satin or the satin to go back to matte, and it's like you pull the paint back off the wall into the brush, and again, it just makes it totally uneven, that it just looks like absolute crap. So what I think I'm gonna do is, I'm totally not in love with the white anyway. I think the contrast between the gray and white is too much. I think I'm gonna go ahead and hit the upper walls with maybe a little bit darker of a finish, so they're a little bit more evenly matched. It's bright enough in here already. I don't think I'm gonna lose any light exposure by obviously putting that on there of a darker color up top. But the white is just horrible. I cannot get it to work. I cannot get it to flow no matter what I do. So I'm just gonna say screw it and get something else. Probably go to my buddy Matt, who can give me some actually good Sherwin-Williams paint instead of it's possibly just this crap. I don't think it's my brush's fault or anything, again, because the gray laid absolutely beautiful. There was nothing, no complaints with the gray. In fact, almost a year later, with me hitting up spots, and if there was a nick in the wall or anything, go ahead and just put that with the paintbrush on there. It blended in. I cannot see any spots where I have touched up. So for whatever reason, that exterior gray is awesome. Maybe it's also just because of the white. Maybe it has something to do with pigment and how that works inside of the paint itself. But we're definitely gonna change it up. We're gonna go to Sherwin-Williams, we're gonna get something else. And honestly, I'm probably gonna hire someone else to do it. I wanna see what a professional can do for this garage. And honestly, it's not that much for them to paint. Obviously, they gotta do 4 walls, but it's only half of 4 walls. So actually, if you do the math, it's probably 8 foot. So it's really just like them painting a normal room 8 foot tall. So I'm gonna find some painters, get some quotes, see what that can charge me. I'll just supply the Sherwin-Williams paint for them because I know they'll probably want that anyway, you know, the real good stuff. And then we'll go from there. But I'm gonna wrap this up here. Hopefully you guys can see what now everything is going to look like on the windows, both out here and in the house. And hopefully Erin likes the look of painted trim being equal with the walls, or maybe she'll want to have the trim just a different color than the walls. And that's something else that we can talk about when we go ahead and we repaint all this. So I'm just gonna wrap it up here, say screw it, and get a video, guys, out to you because it's been a while. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what the paint problems are. Let me know what colors you're thinking, and let me know what trim work I should be doing paint-wise so that it kind of blends or doesn't blend in so easily. But I'll see you guys next time. Hit us up on NeckofTheWoods on Instagram 2020. If you guys got anything to say, where you can personal message us, hit a thumbs up if you like the way the house is looking already, and we'll see you guys next time.